What's up, you bold beauty boss? All right, this is the cool stuff. One thing I love to see are estheticians that do events. And Angela and I were just cracking up and we're just sharing our sob stories because when you do events, it's that old school Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong can go wrong. The DJ setting up late, the food's not there on time, the food runs out, this problem, that problem. But at the same time, that's what we want to share here today to give you ideas. One, to give you the courage to go and do events because it is literally one of the best ways to one, meet clients, two, get into the community, three, meet some fun people that actually come to the events, and four, and most important part, grow your brand, grow your business, grow. I want to first introduce, Angela, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And I've been stalking Angela, literally. Okay, y'all, I've been stalking Angela for literally months to try to finally pin her down for today. And they say the juice has to be worth the squeeze. And the reason I wanted to pick Angela's brain and interview on how she does events, what the process is, the results, et cetera, is I saw the pictures online and I just saw a bunch of ladies having fun. I was looking at it, getting FOMO, like I was missing out because I wanted to be at those events. The pictures were amazing, the videos were cool. But at the same time, that process isn't without its pains, meaning the pictures look beautiful, but behind closed doors, we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of all that. So, Angela, before we begin, introduce yourself, your business, how long have you been an esthetician, all that goody stuff.
Hello, so I'm Angela Branch. I have been a esthetician for 6 years now. I was a chemist. I hated it. I loved the lab, but I just hated corporate America. And then I decided to go back to school for skincare, and I started my business in 2018. But I started working for people, so I didn't really start to work in my business until the pandemic hit. I'm located in Newark, New Jersey, and like Wick said, I love to host parties because I always knew from the beginning that I didn't want to be in the treatment room for a long time. So I just figured out what it is I want to do other than just be behind the table.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into it. Events, right? You mentioned you love doing them. To begin with, what kind of events have you done? Let's start with that. Like, what kind of events have you done? And we'll go from there.
So initially I started with the spa parties. I was online every day in 2020. People were like, "Oh, we want to have a spa party," but every time I would see it, they would only want massages. So then I would like interject and be like, "Hey, what about facials?" So that's kind of how I got started. And then they were like, "Oh, okay, but do you do massages?" So then I was like, Yeah, no, but okay, let me call out to some people that do massages and ask them if they want to participate." So that's what got me into doing spa parties. And then once I went from there, I got my own space, so I kind of calmed down with the spa parties. But then I was like, I miss being out of this room. I miss mingling with people. So then I came up with the idea. I have a friend who's an event planner. She's amazing. And I said, we should work together and do events. And then I said, let's do a spa brunch. And that's how I started doing events. And now today, I did the spa brunch again this year for Mother's Day. And then I bumped into around the springtime, I bumped into another chemist who makes her own skincare line. And I said, we should work together. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. 2 days later, all of a sudden this idea came to me, and I was like, well, she creates her own products. People are always asking me about natural things, and they like to do stuff at home. So I was like, what if we create a product with people, and then I show them how to utilize their products at home to do their own skincare routine. And so I created Beauty and Bubbly out of that idea.
No, it's not. You know what? And that's the cool part because when you meet, when your mind is in that area, right? Whether you're attracting other people or they just show up, when you're focused and saying, "Hey, I want to do more of these events," it's funny those things will appear to you more. And it's kind of like saying it's that old saying, if I bought a car and my car is yellow, whenever I see another yellow car, it just immediately sticks out to me because it's on my mind. It's what I have, right? And I think a lot of business is that way as well. If you're kind of looking at that or doing that, you're more focused and seeing parts and pieces that can come into you. So in the beginning, you mentioned that people were approaching you. Is that how it was in the beginning? People were approaching you for events or idea or these parties or spa parties, or did you go out look for them? How did that start?
Beginning, I was just on Facebook because we all were at home, and I kept seeing people asking about like massages, and then when they referred to spa parties for whatever reason, they weren't talking about facials. They always were looking at massages or even like nails, and I was just like, why do everybody leave us out? Like the skin is not important. So that's when I started to insert myself into the conversations and say, hey, I could do facials. I had no idea. I had only ever really done the 60-minute facial. I did a few events when I worked at the spas that I worked at, but I really had no clue what to do. But I was like, I've done it before. I could just do it again, and I could just take my skills and put it together with the massage therapist. So the first spa party I did, they got 30-minute facials and 30-minute massages. So not everybody got the same services. So it was just like a la carte. The next party I did, it was a package, and then we swapped. So like I was literally set up next to the massage therapist and the person the two people on the table, they switched once the other one was finished. And that's how we did the second party. And then I just started developing like the concept, and it's changed over the years. Sometimes I just went to a person's house. I know people say, "Oh, it's the legality between it." I really didn't care. I was broke. I needed money, so I was doing what I needed to do. It wasn't a long-term plan, so that's neither here nor there. But that's how it came about. And then eventually, people started reaching out to me because then now this person's at the spa party. Like, I want to do this for my birthday, so then they would follow up with me. And I think the most I made, I did in Long Island, I think she lived, so it was kind of like an hour drive, but she had like 8 family members, and it was like over $3,000. It was me, a massage therapist, and a nail tech.
Nice, nice. That doesn't hurt at all. 3 grand. Here a grand, there a grand, everywhere a grand, right? And so when you did these events, did you always do them as with a team of people? Did you do them yourself as well? Or how did that work?
Like it's gotten to the point where people started to know me, so they'll just ask for the facials. So
Yeah.
I done where I've just gone like recently this year I did it where I did facials for like 4 people. And then they booked a separate massage there because they knew that person. I did, and usually because of the amount of people, I would go with at least one person. But I have done it where it's just been me, and I just literally been there all day, just doing quick facials.
So which one did you find to be easier and which one did you find to be more profitable? The ones where you're doing it by yourself, the ones where you had a team?
So I find that obviously when I'm by myself, but then I don't, then I'm doing all the work and then I'm burnt out. The one I found the most profitable was when I had the team because we were able to leverage like the different aspects, so the nails, the facial, the massage. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm just generous, so I know these people, we work together. So I paid them more than they would probably get if they worked under somebody else. But I took home over half of that money, and we were there almost the whole day. I didn't get home till like midnight that day, and I might have left like 10 in the morning. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
okay. But it was worth it because out of that came reviews. Out of that, she gave me an amazing review on Yelp with the pictures and everything. So it's like that one day, although it was a very draining day, it brings more people to me because then they see like the review and then they reach out to me and I was like, oh, I want to do that too. Like you said, it's the fear of missing out. I was like, oh, I want to do that too.
Yep. And it is nice. It's a different level of luxury. So let's just say when you had a team, how did you find these people? How did you find the massage therapist? How did you find the nail tech? You mentioned you had an event planner. uh, how did all that work out? How did you find these people? Because that's one of the questions. They're gonna automatically say, well, how do I, how do I approach these people? How do I find them and go from there?
So, and initially, these is all people I know. But as time has gone on, like the people I worked with in the beginning, I think like majority of massage therapists don't even do massages anymore. The esthetician has moved on. So now I'm like, man, I gotta find more people. So in the very beginning, it was I reached out to coworkers. We all home. I was like, we all home. We all broke because COVID said we can't work in spas right now. But we're gonna do stuff outside because we in the open air, we're not in an enclosed space. It was summertime, so I was like, we could be outside. So that's how I started. But the last event I just did, I actually reached out to total strangers and just had to go based on their reviews. I went through like their Instagram, I went through their Facebook if they had one. I don't really go to anybody I don't see any like reviews. I don't care what's on your website. I need to see like what's on Google. I need to see what people are saying on Facebook. So I'm in a different Facebook groups and they recommend people all the time. So I usually while I'm searching and posting my own information, I'm looking at the people that they're recommending and saying, who is this person? Because if I want to do business with them, I go check out their page. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep her name. So if I have to do an event, I'll reach out to her and ask her if she want to work with me. So that's how I started doing it now.
And that's a really good idea because just earlier today, I was looking at different Facebook groups, and I think that's a wonderful way to find a team, right? Like, for example, the city I'm in is close to Sacramento, California, and there's a recommendation thing. So I put in there, hey, who here knows a good DJ? Or hey, who here knows a good massage therapist? And then let the people do the work for you, right? And but more importantly, Angela, I think what you said is the critical part because everyone's going to recommend everybody. That they're going to recommend their broke cousin to be the DJ. They're going to recommend the guy that just got that book DJ for Dummies, right? And now he's ready to spin the ones and the twos and stuff like that. But if you don't do the work and check them out, check out their reviews, how long have they been doing it, right? What do other people say about them? It gives a little bit more credibility because now you're bringing professionals with you as opposed to just getting the cheapest person that spits a good game but may not have the skills.
So I'm very critical about presentation, how people present themselves online. Because if you're aligned with me, I present myself in a very professional way. So I want the people I work with to present themselves the same because I want to know like you want value other business owners. Because, so I have people like, oh, should I wear my shirt or do you want me to wear your shirt? That's respect. Like
Yeah,
you understand.
nice.
And then most of the time, depending on what it is, if I'm doing something and they're paying me, I'll say no, you gotta wear my shirt. But when it's like an event I'm hosting and I just because hosting the event takes a lot of work and I don't want to be micromanaging people, I'm like, no, you represent yourself. Because if something go wrong, they'll remember your name on that shirt, not my name. But when it's like how I did the spa party, usually with the spa party, I say, no, we representing me. So everything will go through me. But when I host like big events, because it's so much that go into the planning and the behind the scenes, I just don't want that added responsibility. So I'm like, no, you could take the opportunity to shine. I like let them come back to you. I don't even want any parts of that. They'll remember me for the fact that I hosted the event. I'm going to be the one that's walking around talking to everybody. So they'll remember me.
The more complex the event. So, for example, if let's just say you're doing it yourself, you're in more control of that. Now, when you're working with a team, the more it becomes a little bit more complex because you have these people, and of course, you expect them to self-manage and like that. So, as you've done the more and more of these, are there certain people that you're like, well, I really don't need a DJ at the next one, or is it I absolutely do need the DJ, I absolutely do need it to be catered, or well, we could have done without the food and it would have been easier like that. What have you learned through some of the process of people you brought on, and which ones would you consider essential, like you would definitely have them every single time, or the ones you've tried and they're like, maybe not this one?
I say definitely the DJ is a great idea because we weren't going to go with a DJ at the last event because of budget, and I was gifted money from a client to pay for the DJ. So we found the amazing again through Facebook. I found the amazing because I just searched the group and everybody was recommending this one DJ and said he was reasonable. I don't
Mhm.
know what number is attached to reasonable, but it must mean he's affordable in the sense of like he's not trying to charge you $100,000 an hour, right? So I said all I could do is reach out to him, ask him his price, and when I reached out to him, he was very professional, very respectful. He answered me right away, and we sealed the deal within like 30 minutes of going back and forth in Facebook Messenger. So
Yeah. Roughly, how much was the DJ? How much was it?
I charged 250 for 4 hours.
That's nice. That's real nice.
Mhm.
And these events, you did them at the person's house? Did you do it at a venue, a restaurant, your studio? Where did you do them?
Post the bigger events, I rent a venue. If I'm doing like a spa party, it could be at their house, their hotel. I don't have the space for a spa party, so it's usually at their house or their hotel room, Airbnb, whatever. As long as they have the space for me. And then the venues, usually the event planner, she goes to different venues. So usually I go with her, like, what you think is the better venue? And she usually can get a better rate because she usually works with the venues.
Nice. And of all the places you've done it, do you have a preference? Is it at the person's house? Is it an Airbnb? Is it a venue? Of all the ones that you've done, do you have a preference of what you feel works best for what you do?
I would rather be at the venue because I'm like the person's house. I had to like from the first like party, I realized I had to tell people like about space because because we did the first one spot party. The lady she had a bigger space for us, right? And then we did this. So from that party, her friend booked for the next month. When we
Mhm.
went to her house, I guess the lady didn't understand that she had way more people and it was four of us versus two of us. So she put us in like a bedroom. It was like so cramped, but we made it work. But then I was like, after that part, I was like, yeah, I have to tell people, like, I have to start asking to see the room, what's the measurement, so I know if it's going to be enough room or not. So that was a lesson learned. And then she had candles along the path. I was like, you got to move these candles because I'm not trying to burn your house down. So we carrying our supplies and our tables. It's look, we could knock anything over. So that was another like a big lesson learned. It was like, okay, next time I gotta be more specific. Like I always said, like I need access to water. I need access to a bathroom, things like that. Like I know certain things that we need, electrical outlet or something. But I didn't think to like to tell her about the space, which I just assumed because she was at the first spot party. But you never should assume. That was my mistake. You never should assume.
So, and you know what, that's the cool part because through the process, you're able to create your own checklist. Go, okay, before we book this, let's just make sure because you don't want to set yourself up for disaster, right? You don't want to step into an environment that you're just seeing for the first time and you're like, holy crap, my table's not gonna fit in here. This is not gonna fit in here. The outlets are behind sofas that need to be moved or candles or things of that sort. So as you go through it, it becomes that learning part because it doesn't matter. You could do everything perfect, but if the environment just isn't it, and you don't want to piss people off because they're gonna just blame you, right? And you don't want to set yourself up for a bad review. So what are some of the other things that you learned through the process that's now part of your checklist of yeah, you need to have this.
Parking, like inquiring about parking because I've done something in New York and obviously New York is difficult with parking and then I'm like I gotta carry this table I gotta carry down 10 streets like no, so I have to like inquire like where's parking, if there is like parking lot or something, like making sure like what's the cost because I build them for the parking, like if I can't park for free right in front of the place and then I got to walk down the street carrying this table and all my supplies, that's a headache. So, I always tell people charge for everything. Like, don't just charge for the facial. Your time is money. If I got to go to New York and I'm sitting in traffic, that is money. that I'm spending to get there, the commute. So I actually built that into my pricing. So if you ask me to come to New York and I'm in New Jersey and I know to sit in that freaking tunnel is gonna probably be like an hour or two, trust me, I'm getting paid for sitting in that car.
Yep.
So I what people fail to do too is charge for their time because we're so eager to get the client that we just go above and beyond and we don't compensate ourselves fairly. But that's the one thing I've always done from day one. And a lot of times I will get a sale over somebody else, even though I am higher priced because of my customer service and my professionalism. I respond quickly, so if I didn't respond because somehow I missed the email or I missed a notification, and I'm very like, I am so sorry. Can I get you on the phone right now? How can I make this right? So typically, I find that a lot of estheticians, we just don't know how to charge properly because we don't think about like the time that goes into it, the setup time. And I think that comes from the spa because we don't get paid to be there half an hour early to set up. But trust me, every time my client lay on this table, they're paying me for my setup time too. Because I
Because
don't I pay for every hour I'm here.
Yeah, because those hidden costs will just eat away at the money. And the last thing I think any esthetician wants to do is do all that work, drag that table, do this, do that. And when you look at the toll prices you're paying, the gas you're spending, the parking you're paying, and all these other things, and you walk out with half the money you expected to have and doing all that work, right? Those are the learning pains that we're trying to avoid here. So when you go, let's just say your part, so the services you do is a facial. It's not a full facial, I assume. It's hard to manage a full facial with a room full of people. What kind of services have worked best for you that more importantly have been received well by the clients?
So with facials, it's like when they get out that chair or get off that table and their skin looks amazing, like it's a win. I could do a 15-minute facial. If you use the right products, they'll see a difference in their skin and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. So usually I don't bring like no machines or anything. I just do a basic facial, but I pick the products that I know is going to make a difference. But I
Mm.
always to like I always try to get them to tell me ahead of time if there's any allergies, anything that I should be worried about so that I know, what products to leave behind or whatever. So, oh, another thing about going into like people's homes and knowing if they got cats, if they got dogs, if they got kids, so I always be like, put the kids away, put the dogs away, find a place that's calm and quiet because I don't want somebody their kid keep running in or their phone keep going off and it's like they're messing up the experience for themselves, but it also is a reflection on you because if they're not relaxed then they probably won't give you a good review because they
Right. No, no, and more important, and this just happened to me yesterday, just yesterday. So I study martial arts, and the studio I went to, there was a couple of us, and one of the moms brought her son, right? And this and her son was not one of those sitting down quietly kind of sons, right? When a lot of kids will be that way, kids are kids, pets are pets, right? And they're just running around, da da da. Towards the end of the session, the kid he just ran full steam and he hit a metal bar on his floor, just like, and we just heard it like clank, right? And you're like, what the heck? That could have been a lawsuit for the instructor, this, but more importantly, like you just mentioned, like if they got kids or they got pets, you might have equipment there, you might have products there. A kid can be running around and top over a tray or all of these things, right?
because I have people have people moms have to bring their kids sometimes and the kids for the most part the clientele that I've had their kids have been on their iPad sitting there quiet, but then every so often you get the kid that's up and moving around, so then I usually say no, go in that as I'm doing the facial they'll start walking on my side where I have like the steamer and everything. I'm like no 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 no, you got to go back around because I don't want you to touch that steamer and burn yourself. Now it's on me. So you have to try to minimize like liabilities. We can't minimize everything, But those are some things that you have to like think about, like the environment, and even for your safety. Am I going up steps? You know, am I going to have to go up steps, and how many, how many steps I have to carry? Luckily for me, every time I had to go up steps, for the most part, somebody's husband has been home and carried the stuff for me, so that was a plus. But there were instances where that wasn't the case, and then I'm like, okay, now I got to carry this stuff up all these steps, so you got to think about that too when you're setting up.
Yeah, absolutely, right. It's just gnawing, and these are all things that I would add in my checklist or the conversation I have with the client ahead of time, saying, okay, what's the environment going to be like? Are there stairs? Is there this? Is there that? Will we have 3 hours just by ourselves? Are there any interruptions I'm not thinking of that can happen and all that? So, speaking of equipment that you're taking with you, because you mentioned the table. So other than, so you're taking a table, what else are you carrying with you, taking with you? Because it's to me, doing this is kind of like going to, let's just say, going to Jamaica, Bahamas, whatever, right? You've gone the first time. I overpack like a mofo. I just this and this and this and this. And then, but if you go the 10th time, you're like, okay, the last 9 times I took all this stuff, but I only wore this, this, and this, and I didn't need this. So you're able to concise it down. What has become your concise, equipment, products, whatever that you just see yourself taking? And what are some of the things that you took in the beginning that you're like, okay, I don't need this next time?
So in the beginning, I had a whole makeup case. One of those like makeup case cards. I have all my products in there because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to need kind of situation. But as time has gone on, I'm down back to my dermatological school bag. It's just a little bag I put some products in because I'm like, they're not getting corrective skincare. There's just a basic facial, but I can still do a basic facial and make them go wow, right? So I learned to just like downsize that. So because that makeup case, you start packing products in there, it gets heavy. So it rolls, but then you got to lift that up to bring it up into the house. So I still have it, but I don't use it anymore because I just found that I was just overpacking, like you said. I was just putting everything, all the product. I had two sets of products at one time. So I had products that I had in my studio, and then I had the spare products in the case. So I actually started like using all of those products in studio and just only packing what I needed, which is when I broke it down, it was bare minimum.
No.
It's really minimum.
So you got the products, and so is it just the products in the table? I assume you don't take a steamer.
I used to take I will sometimes, depending on if it's a 30-minute or more facial, I have a tiny little hot towel warmer. It's a tiny one. I could fit it inside of a Stop and Shop bag, one of those bags that you could reuse. It fits inside that. And I literally leave it in there, and when I'm ready to use it, I grab the bag and go. And I'll take the bowls. So I throw those inside the bag too. My little sponges if I have them. If not, I use aesthetic wipes. I have a little garbage can that like flattens and it pops out. So I carry that with me just in case. And my little water bottle, and I always bring like a bottle of water just in case I need water for the water bottle. So I really downsized over the time. I really barely take anything now. And I have a little fold up table if by chance they don't have a space to put me like where I can have access to a table. So I have that in a car in case I need it.
Awesome. So you've done the home events, and then you've actually done event, like you said, like Mother's Day or Father's Day events of that sort. How did you plan those? How many people did you do it for, or how many people showed up? What did you charge them? And let's start with that.
Well, the first two events I did, I think that was 2021. I was just starting out. Mother's Day, I just had me. It was, well, not me. I asked a friend who was an esthetician to do the facials, and then I had a massage therapist do chair massages. For Father's Day, I added a nail tech because I couldn't get a nail tech for Mother's Day because it was so last minute. So Father's Day, I was able to secure a nail tech, so I got a nail tech and I added her on because I was like, it's a part of self-care and grooming. So now flash forward to 2024, I had I actually did facials at this event. I had another esthetician, I had the massage therapist, I had the nail techs, which I had two, and I had a makeup girl, and I had a nurse do injection. Well, she wasn't doing the IV injection, she was just doing like a little booster shot. That was amazing because, well, she actually made money off of that. I didn't really take a cut from what she was doing, but because I really asked everybody to do it for free. So I really couldn't, I really couldn't like take money. I was like, whatever money you make. And then I tell the nail tech, I think I pay her a certain amount per service. And she was fully booked. And so then I think the nurse ended up making more money because I think she was able to do up to 2 shots. So
Mhm.
like people initially was like, oh, I don't know what it is. I don't want that. And then once she did it and they experienced it, they was like, oh, can I get another? So she ended up making more money that night versus what we had already pre-booked. The only one that didn't do that great was the makeup artist. But it made sense because you're at an event, you're getting facials. So then it's like, why am I going to put on makeup or whatever? So I think that that's something that I would reevaluate the next time.
Mhm. And like so all these people, how much were you selling tickets or
I had tears because I feel like not everybody's gonna want everything, and then some people are gonna want to come. Like I know one girl came with her mother. Her mother got the package, but then she just got the brunch. So it was like brunch was the bare minimum was you get brunch and unlimited mimosas. Then
Mhm.
the next tier was like you just get a facial and a massage, and then with the brunch and mimosas. So it's just like an add-on. The top tier was like you got everything, not the makeup, because I was like I book out times because I can't just have people come in when they want to come in and think they're going to get a service because I'm like, how are we supposed to manage that? So I have time slots and I package them together. Like, okay, well, if you pick 2 o'clock, basically your services flow back to back. And then I have everybody booked down to a time spot. So the only one I left out was the makeup. She did end up doing some makeup at the end, but I feel like it didn't flow with the massage, the nails, everything else flowed together, and I couldn't justify where I could put a person to do their makeup, so that was kind of difficult. So I ended up with 30 people, and
Oh
that was
wow.
20, I think 27, but my goal was 30.
Awesome. And yeah, because the makeup one is tough, and but it's good for the makeup artist because she can hopefully get clients out of that, meet people. Maybe she can do some kind of a demo on one person how to do this or how to do that, as opposed to doing it on the clients themselves, right?
So that's what I think that really that you brought that up. That's what I said. Next time I think that will probably be a better thing for her. But she actually did do that. So she got one person who was willing to get their makeup done after they had got their services. And then I think once she did that, that was probably like halfway through the event because it was 4 hours. Once she did that, I think that's when she was able to get like people who were like towards the end when they were about to leave, they got a quick makeup treatment. So I think that did work for her. So I think in the future I think I would do it in that way, but not I don't want to package it into the package. I just don't think it works.
No, but I think I like for me, I think it's a good idea. I think I would want to include that person in there. It's just how to do it. So, for example, they demo this or they see a latest trend, how to quickly do the eyeshadow thing or that smoky eye look and da, right? Or do something of that sort because it's just good networking anyways. And so it sounds like how you scheduled it. You actually scheduled it like your normal schedule. Okay, from this time to this time, this person's getting this. From this time to this time, you just have slots and you're just booking them in to have it more organized. I think that's really smart. That as opposed to just the chaos.
Because I felt like if I think the higher price ticket was about $200 after like taxes and fees. So I feel like you spending all that money, you're not going to want to leave and not have gotten your services because you showed up. If the event is from 2 to 6, you show up at 5. How can I give you all of these services if I don't make a schedule? Because obviously you won't have time to get everything at 5 o'clock. I think the last people were at 5. But just imagine if everybody, like 3, 4, 5 people showed up at 5.
Yeah.
How would I? everybody their services if I didn't have a schedule. Now, obviously, people are still going to show up late. So what I would do is, okay, well, who's here? If that person who was scheduled to be there at 2 wasn't there and somebody else came early, just take them now, and then we'll put that person down later. That's how we would do it, so that we
No.
could, that way everybody could get their service. And I think only one person didn't get a facial, and that's because she was with her daughter and she was taking care of her grandson, and she's a client, so I was just like, I'll take care of you next time I see you.
No, no, I think that's genius, Angela. That alone, if for anyone that's doing events, that alone is worth watching this right here because it's better to have at least a plan because the plan's never gonna go 100% according to plan, right? But it's structured enough where you have flexibility, and if some people are there a little bit earlier or this or this, you can start knocking them out while the rest of it, just gives you a little bit more of flexibility. So you had the most expensive tier was 200. Break down the tiers for me. What tiers did you have and what did you charge for those tiers?
So I think that was 200. If you just got the middle tier, I think with taxes and fees, it came out to maybe about 115, 120. And then the lowest one, with just the brunch and mimosa. So if you didn't want to get any services, it was about $80.
Okay, well, nice, nice.
You get the DJ. The DJ, oh, he was amazing. You get the DJ, you get the food, you can get unlimited mimosas. So I just bought a whole bunch of bottles of cheap champagne, like $5 at Total Wine, and some orange juice and pineapple juice, and we mixed it or whatever, and then you can just keep refilling. And even though we had that many people, we still have stuff left over.
Wow. And then the catering, the food, how did you sort that out?
So I reached out to some caterers, but then at the it was gonna be too expensive. So I just went with somebody we knew that cooked very well. She's not like a official caterer, but she does do cook. She cooks for like family events and things like that, and she cooked for us. So she made us like pans of food, so it came out way cheaper.
Yeah.
Um, Food was amazing. Like everybody complimented the food, so it worked out.
No, 100%. And see, you want to pay attention to things like this because that overhead can just drain the profits. If you go, okay, I want this thing and this thing, nothing's wrong. You can pay as much as you want for food or DJ or this, as long as the ticket price is makes sense for you. Because to do all that work and to pay everybody and not pay yourself, it makes it kind of hard. So you want to pay attention to these things, look at quality. And if you know somebody that just cooks really, really well, I think a lot of like my family members are just amazing chefs. And like even my mom, she cooks so well. And people will ask her, say, hey, can you make these for my party? And my mom will do that. She's not a caterer by a long shot, but she just does that really well. What about entertainment? Because a lot of times things can get boring. Of course you have a DJ. How did that work out? Did you do anything else? Was it just a DJ? Did you have any games or anything of that sort?
That's what I want to incorporate in the next event. So because it like as much as I love events, it's very overwhelming. And this event, because I wanted to accommodate everybody and get as many people at the higher ticket price, I actually worked this event. And usually I don't. So
Mhm.
that's something that we said moving forward, we gotta bring in like an MC or like somebody like that that can like do, because people just would entertain themselves. They listen to the music, they dance, and I like that part too because I called the lower level ticket like mix and mingle. Because
Yeah.
if you services, what else you're going to do? You're just going to mix and mingle. So I called it that for that purpose because I was just like, you're just going to be at the table. And some women, they came in at 2 and they stayed for a couple hours and they had their food and they had their drinks and they met the other women there and they all had conversations because even like at the end of the night, my friend who's the event planner was like, "Oh, did you know such and such?" And I was like, "I don't know these people," but then she would tell me like, "Did you know such and such with such and such?" So I was like, "Oh, that." So next time I got to do more of a networking aspect to it
Yeah.
because I have everybody's information because they purchased a ticket from me. But I was like, that would be nice to people to get to know each other. And we create games around people getting to know each other. Their moms, that's why they're here. They're here for Mother's Day. So that would have been nice to do some type of games.
No, no, absolutely. You know, it's just fun. I remember like when I used to host some of these events, one thing I would do is like a fashion show. And it was so like for example, they're already getting their facial and this and that. And literally all I did, Angela, is I got a bunch of like wigs, like a green wig, a red wig, some funny sunglasses, this and this, gave them some funky like outfit or accessories to put on, and then just had them strut back and forth. Did you have a photographer at the event as well or no?
So the funny thing is we didn't actually hire a photographer. I was like, everybody got a phone because we were like on a really strict budget. I was like, everybody got a phone. I created little business cards. I did like a Google photo album. I put a QR code on it and I was like, please share your pictures. But what happened was the nail tech, her brother does photography, and she just asked her brother to come and do photography for her, like get stuff for her. He noticed that we didn't have a photographer, and then he took it upon himself to start taking pictures. And then obviously he was like, "Well, I'll give you the pictures for free, but pay me to create like a 2 minute highlight of the event." And he charged us for that, and it was very cheap. I was like, okay, I'll take it. So that's how we ended up getting pictures. And then some people did upload their pictures to the QR code.
See, and that's the thing, right? Like someone knows someone, right? And more importantly, like there's a lot of people that are flexible, and there's some parts, some areas where, for example, you want the food to be amazing, obviously. You want the DJ to be on point, right? There's some things that are just critical for the success of an event that happen that helps a lot. Someone like a photographer, I wouldn't spend buco bucks on something like that. If I can get somebody for like $50 or $100, like, hey man, you don't got to be professional, but it's just again one less headache. And thing that you mentioned, I think that's genius. To everyone's got their phones and this and this and this to put it on a QR code to share it all together. Use the resources that are already available, and then just make it fun like that, right?
Yeah, so it turned out like at the end of the day, I was like dead after I finished, but then I was like, we really did it. It's a lot of work. But I think if you keep learning and keep growing, so that's why when I like create an event, I just come up with an idea and I execute. I don't really think about like what could go wrong in a sense of like how can I fail. Even if I don't, I think the last time I hosted my event, I sold one ticket. I was like, whatever. I called my friend and I called my cousin and I was like, can you come? Are you free? And I asked them to come so that the lady didn't wasn't just there by herself. And so it worked out.
You know what? And again, that is a genius tip. And this is why I say that. So before I used to host speed dating events, right? And so there'd be like, so many guys and so many gals. And the number had to be almost close to even. If one or two off, no problem. But if I had eight guys and only three gals, or eight gals and only three guys, or whatever the number was, it just messed everything up. So I had like a speed list of people that I knew. And I'm like, hey man, I need you to come over here. Hey, da 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 da, right? Because a lot of these events that are going to be that way, and you don't want that person to be alone. So if you got friends, you have a hot list, keep a hot list there handy in case that problem does come up, and you just invite people that maybe they're clients, maybe they're family, maybe they're friends, right? Say, hey, I got this going on, would love for you to come, da 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 da, right?
Like I was like, she paid, so I was like, I got one person to pay. Let me see who else I can get here. You don't have to pay, don't worry about it. Just come because I just didn't want her to be alone. I didn't want to have to tell her like I would have made something up like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is the person just texted me said they couldn't make it. But I was like, let me like I always figure out something. Like I'm like, if it don't work, let me go to play back to scratch and start over and see what I can do. So I always, like you said, I always keep a list of people who I'm like, let me see what she's doing if she can come. So I reached out and they had fun. Like my friend gets facials from me and my cousin gets facials from me, but they enjoyed the event as well. And so this is just me. So they made with the other girl who's a formulator. She was a chemist and now she makes her own products. Just basically made a basic lip scrub, some sugar and oil, right? So they mix that up, they take that home, but they learn something. And then I
Right.
go walk through the facial with them, and then we got the products, and then I give them the travel kit. They take home the products, and I go to ShopRite and buy like the little charcuterie, but it's like a cheap version of it. They got like turkey and crackers and cheese. I buy like donuts or cupcakes or whatever, cookies or something. I buy some bottles of wine and now to like for this one I bought sparkling apple juice and sparkling grape juice, and I buy water and I set it out and I get little champagne flutes from the dollar store. I get little plates and stuff from the dollar store. So I don't make it too fancy, but it's cute, right? I
Absolutely.
set the table really cute. I get them gift bags. I give them gift bags with the thank you with the products in it. I put out business cards in it, so I make it presentable, even though it's not costing me a lot of money.
You know what? Because and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's fun. It looks cute. It's something different than, for example, what they're doing at their house. So they're not sipping, the sparkling apple cider in a champagne flute. The flute doesn't have to be made of freaking crystal. Right? We're not. It's not that thing, but it's just different. You just go there maybe with your pinky out, like this, right? It's about having fun and doing that with it. So and that's a great tip. Don't like I know there's people, and again, I've made this mistake so many times where I'm like, oh no, it needs to be like this and this and this and this. And the more structured I was for that, believe me, you do enough of these events, you get beat down enough and many of those beatdowns include not making money. I've learned to be flexible real fast. I'm like, okay, how can we make this fun? Because I think a lot of people will remember the experience as opposed to the type of champagne flute you use, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
and one another thing that I think I really like that what you said is like for example, you had to make the lip scrub, right? A lot of these things are easy to make, like you mentioned, it's just whatever sugar or whatever what is you put in there. But I always like the experience of letting people get their hands dirty. You're giving them something to do. They're doing this, they're measuring that, they're laughing while they're doing this.
yeah.
I,
Was for October breast cancer month. So then she pulled out like pink little mica to make it pink if they wanted to. And I found that like even adults like to play. So they would be like, "Oh, am I doing it right?" And then should I add more? So she's walking around and then they're like, she's guiding them, and I'm like, it's something so simple. It's literally sugar and oil, and you mixing it together. But it was just like they don't do this you're right. They don't do this at home. So this is a new experience for them and they have fun and then they get to take it home. And then I'm like, hopefully they'll remember like what she used. And then we also talk about like the ingredients and what type of sugar you should buy. It should be like refined sugar. I always tell people like you should make sure it's organic, things like that. And then the types of oils and she breaks down like, well, people ask like, well, why this oil versus this oil? And so then it's like, okay. And then while they're asking these questions, it's giving me more information as to like, okay, people don't know this stuff. So let
yeah.
me make sure we're talking about this stuff more.
And you know what? And because my mind's always thinking, because when I'm getting ideas from you, a way to increase the value of an experience. For example, I think that lip scrub is a great thing because, like you mentioned, it's just sugar and oil, right? One, they got to customize it for themselves. But another way to twist that a little bit, for example, Christmas is coming up. Go, hey, ladies, now you know how to make this. You now know how to make stocking stuffers for your friends, your families. So you know this person and you do that, or this person likes blue or that person likes green. So you taught them a skill that's not only for themselves, but these things make beautiful gifts, right?
That's
So that's a great way to just tweak that. And then, like one thing I always that because I'm just crazy and I love crazy things is like there's candles out there and it's just a candle, but they'll put a funny label on this, right? Like you know, to keep the bitchiness away or something like that, right? So you can actually come up with ideas to name that lip scrub. And as they give them for gifts, here's a list of ideas, this is anti-bitch scrub or whatever like that. Or you're going to work is like, right?
what I said for the future to be able to make a label and then they could create their names and that'll be cute too. Cause I was like, I just thought about how like a candle is like rich bitch energy. Like that was the name of the candle. It was like a money candle. So yeah,
Which
that I always
rub,
wanted
right? There you go. Boom.
like scrub the scrub the man away because who knows who you've been kissing. But yeah, so we're moving on to next year because I won't be here in January. That we were going to do a vision board party. I think I'm gonna push it to March, but we want to do something for Valentine's Day in February.
Yeah. See, and like you mentioned, like fun. I believe we're all kids at heart. Like sometimes just playing with these things and doing this and doing that because you come home, you pay bills, you're cooking, you're cleaning, responsibilities, all this stuff, and this is an opportunity to create that experience, right? For them to say, hey, you're here. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna talk shit. We're gonna drink. We're gonna dance and that part is almost as important, if not more important, I believe, than the treatment that they're getting, right? Is the experience that they're leaving with, right?
They get to know me as Angela, not like the esthetician that's sitting behind the table talking over their face. Like they get to know me, my personality. Cause so people say some stuff and you like, okay, so it's like you get to know your clients in a different light. They get to know you in a different light and they get to understand who you are. Like you have a different side to you. I have a funny side to me. I have a personality. So sometimes that hour is not enough for them to ascertain that because I'm not really talking to them for a whole hour. But in this event, I'm talking to them for the whole time because I'm giving them guidance. And even when the other girl is doing her part, I'll even like throw in some stuff like, well, what is this oil for? To get her to pull out more of her like knowledge because she's more introverted than I am. So I noticed that like I'm helping her like pull out because she's like, oh, I never did this before. I'm like, that's fine. And she went with it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, it's fine. You know what you're doing. You make your products all the time. You know what goes into it. You know why you use what you use. Just tell the people.
Yeah.
You don't have to trade secrets, but you can help. I said, let's do small things because like exfoliation, like we did a mask. Like one of the first ones we did was a clay mask. So then it's like she gave different options, and people are like, well, what would I need this for? And then that's when I came in. I was like, well, this is for dry skin, and I started talking to them about their skin type, and then that's how they chose what to put into the mask. So it's
Right.
like it goes hand in hand. One of the things that came up was like, well, we're competing. I'm like, there's no competition. I'm a chemist. She's a chemist. I became an esthetician. She makes her own products. Neither one of us do what each other does. So there's no competition.
And there's enough room for everybody. I never have that competitive mindset where it's me against them. And it's exactly what you said. You're working with the strength. This person is not so talkative. You're gonna ask the questions that one, it's maybe on your mind, but two, because clients as well go, well, maybe they don't know this. And it's a way to explain everything and see more importantly how it's going to benefit them and why you chose this as opposed to that, right?
They ask me that all the time. Sometimes people ask me, like, I have a million different cleansers. I have different serums. So clients will see the product and say, well, why did you choose that over this product? And then I have to explain to them why I chose that product. So it's the same with making their own stuff. It's like, well, why would I choose this over that? Like you said, if they want to go and do this again, they'll remember those lessons. It's one thing to Google something. There's another thing to actually learn it firsthand from an expert who does this all the time. Like she literally sits down and creates formulas for her own products. So what better way than to learn from somebody who actually does this every day?
Yeah, and I think us as humans, we like to know things, and because we can share things. So, for example, like if one of your clients made that lip scrub and she made it for her other client, go, oh, I put this in there, and this is how I did this, right? They're not smarter. And sometimes we like to share that. So, for example, if they made that face, like the clay mask, and they're like, hey, I use this because of that, because I noticed, you have oily skin, and this is going to really help. So, by educating the clients, they're going to always remember they got the knowledge from you, that you're the one that walked them through that process. And it's not always how they feel when they're with you, but when they leave, they're still learning and sharing the information that you got.
That's
So money wise, how did that go? How did the event go? You guys were able to walk away with some cash? Was it worth it? Was it not?
like I think the first event we got 3 people. So I was like, every event, I don't care how many people I get, it's another because people I don't look at the money at that moment, right? Because the content brings in more money, right? Because now people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to do an event like this. So you get the inquiries, right? So then that somebody saw like I know I told you I worked with the influencers. Someone saw one of those videos and reached out to me and said, this is so cool. I want to do this for my organization. It has something to do with maternal health, like Black maternal health. And they want to do it for their organization. So and then from that person, she linked me up with her church to do like to show my business to the church and be able to sell my products at church service or whatever. I don't know. I'm doing it next Sunday. But like the opportunities will come even if I don't like the event I was supposed to have an event today. I didn't sell any tickets. I'm going through a lot of stuff. I didn't really promote it. So that's understood. But I still, based on the promotion that I did before, I got people to come to me and, other opportunities came up. So sometimes it's not, I tell people like, don't think you're a failure because you didn't sell a ticket this time.
Yeah.
And I said, I actually text my partner yesterday and I said, listen, nobody bought a ticket this time. I'm working on myself. Next year, I'm getting it together. I'm going to therapy. I know I'm grieving. I need to fix my life. I said, what's on your calendar for February? Let's do Valentine's Day. I didn't give up
Yeah.
because I didn't book a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm home. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to regroup. And then I'm going to use the marketing that I got and I'm going to start working on content for the next event. And New Year, hopefully people have some income tax money and they'll come out in February. We'll see, right? And if that don't work, I said we're going to do marches, and the best thing you could do is find people who believe in you and will go along with you, even if you feel like you failed.
Right.
Because I'm like, she could have been like, well, girl, we ain't really been selling. I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like, okay. Because she is a small business owner too. And it helps her too. Because people remember we use her products. I could have used Dermalogica, but I chose to use her products. And I threw in some of the products that I have. And I felt like because as small business owners, we gotta band together because it's hard out here. So I was like, we use her product, and then they remember her products. And if she get a customer out of it, I'm happy because I got their information too. Because they purchased the ticket from my website, so we both get to share that customer, and they're gonna buy from both of us because we're not competing. She makes more body products, but she has like a few, like 3, 4 skincare facial products. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. You have a travel kit, and you want to give it to them to take home. So we set it on the table. They get to use it at the event, and then when they're leaving, I give them the bag, the thank you bag, and I say, this is for your products, and they put their products in it.
No, that's awesome. And you know what, the part that I really appreciated what you mentioned is when you do have those events and you take those pics, you do not know who's gonna see them because all of your pics look fun. The ladies are enjoying themselves. Uh, there's so much opportunity for inquiries to come in from somebody that saw it. And again, that phone was like, oh my God, that looks like fun. Hey, I can do that for my girlfriend. Hey, I can do that for so-and-so's birthday party. Oh my God. Hey, are you familiar? Can you do this? Can you show at our church? Can you do this? Can you demo that? Right? You never know who is looking at the content. You never know what you're gonna get or who's gonna be interested or who knocks on your door because of that, right?
I always tell people you can't be afraid of the no because it only takes one yes.
That's
Like
it.
let them know. Like again, like I said, I didn't sell any tickets. Like I said, when I sold the one ticket, I know that it's not because the idea is not good. Because when I had the influencers come, they said this is really cool. Your content just got to be better. And I said that's why I asked you guys to come because I don't know how to make content. But I just asked them, can you do it from your point of view? I got 3 different videos. They each gave me their point of view, and it all was amazing. So that, and then they sent me like extra content. So, and then it's like, it's just for me to promote it more and me to put it out there more. So like I said, my energy has not been there, but I always tell people like, don't give up on yourself. Just keep going. I look forward to the next event. And I always say like, okay, this one, all right, that's fine. I'm just going to go home early today. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get back to this. But let me tell you something. February, I got time. Let me start working on content for February, and let me push it out no more. And let me do more events to get myself out there. Because I did go to events and I did pass out my flyers for the event. I just didn't make any sales. I didn't make the connections, and that's fine. But like I said, even from going to the events, I got another opportunity to work with the doctor. So it's like there's always something there. You just got to put yourself out there. If you never put yourself out there, how are you going to know if it's going to work or not?
And you know, that's really important. It's like, don't take it personal. Not every event's going to be a home run, right? If that's the attitude, well, you know, it needs to be this and this, it's just, that's just not the reality. There's some that no one's gonna buy. There's gonna be some that some people aren't gonna show up. There again, it's going back to the problems that we talked about. There's always gonna be something that happens. You can't just say, well, it's you know, oh, this sucks and I'm not gonna do it again. You have to have that attitude of saying, okay, this one didn't work out. Okay, no worries, on to the next one. Right, let it go. You didn't lose anything. It didn't cost you $1 million. It didn't, you know, a lot of the times it's just that time and energy. So headaches, problems, what have been the biggest nightmares that have happened from doing these events, or problems that yep, there's that look. I love that look. Because things that go wrong, you know, would have been some of the problems, would have been some of the issues, would have been some of the things that you just go, oh Lord, why this?
One headache is, and I'm people when I say this, people wait till the last minute. Like the Mother's Day event, the Father's Day event, I did promote those events for about 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and people literally don't buy tickets to the last 2 weeks, and most people are in the last 3 days. So that is very like, oh my God, are they going to come? And then 30 people show up in the last minute. So I do run like early bird to try to get the like people to get on early. So I'm like, look, early bird promotion save like, you know, it's like $10, $15, whatever it is. And so then you get a couple of people to do early bird. But some people are just like, I don't get paid to XY date. I can't get my ticket today, right? I promote like I take Afterpay. I promote all of that. But for whatever reason, every event, the ticket sales don't happen until the last minute. And that is very like, oh my God. You think like, oh my God, should I cancel? Nobody gonna show up. But I just learned to wait it out. And if they don't, like even it's like today, I was like, well, it's Thursday night. No one bought a ticket. I don't even announce that I'm canceling it. I just either decide I'm gonna close off the sales or I'm gonna wait to see if somebody buy a ticket on Friday. And that's it. And if nobody buys it, I just like, okay. I act like it never existed. Like, okay. If somebody asks, I just go, oh, I had to cancel, whatever. But then I still use the content that I had before, and I keep pushing it out. I keep pushing it out. You can always take content and make it look like whatever you want it to look like. So I just tell people like that's a big headache. As we said before, my first event when I had the Mother's Day event, my caterer showed up an hour late, so that pushed that out like an hour and a half after his setup. The DJ couldn't get the music going for like an hour, so people had already showed up. It was no music playing, no food, and I'm like, oh my God. It all worked out at the end, but yeah, it's like if you're doing events at a venue, I would say try to find a place that has parking because that's an issue. Like people trying to find parking. These events are usually on a Sunday afternoon. So I find that depending on the area, it could be busy. You might not be able to find parking, and then people are not going to show up 30 minutes early. Some people are just not early birds. So
Mhm.
then that pushes, especially if there is time, then you're like, oh boy, they're not here yet. That's why I just was like, okay, who's here? Put them into that spot. The other person is, coming. Have an assistant, because that's my issue too. They'll be calling me because my number and information is there, but I'm busy and my phone is either in my pocket or I set it down somewhere and forgot where I put it. I remember one event, I ain't see my phone for the whole night. I don't even know where my phone is. I found it at the end of the night, thank God. But I didn't even know where it was for like the whole event. People were calling me and texting me. And I'm just like, okay, so I know now to like have an assistant, give them the phone, let them keep track of that stuff because people would call me the morning of, do you still have tickets? I'm setting up for the event. I'm not dealing with this right now. So those are a lot of headaches that happen. One event, the nail tech, she was so off time. Like I did have my cousin helping me at that event. So I had to keep telling my cousin, like, go let her know, like, she's she's running behind time. Like I said, just stay on top of her, right? I don't know what it was, but she just was moving a little slow. And it was on, and I always ask, can you do a manicure in this amount of time? So I know how to book it out.
Yeah.
I don't do manicures, I don't do massages. So I only know what I can do with the facial. So I always ask them, like, is this time okay? But for some reason, nail techs always seem to run a little behind. So I even try to book that into the time slots, but it's still, I don't know. But it at the end, it all went well. She even complimented me and said, I would come work for you. I like how you handle yourself, like how you were able to move around and keep everybody on track and like and it was so flexible. And I was just like, I wouldn't hire. I was like, I'm thinking like I wouldn't hire you, but it was a compliment. It was a compliment because she noticed that I was like, on task and keeping everybody and making sure I was like going to the guests and checking in. Did you get your food? How's everything? So I mean, that's what I couldn't do at the last event because I was working it. But this time, it's just like finding estheticians is kind of it's just difficult. So I went with somebody I trusted, and somebody else they couldn't do it, so I was like, I'll do it. But yeah, it could be a headache. But it's worth it because when the moms enjoy themselves, the dads enjoy themselves, or the people come to the event and they like even doing the beauty and bubbly, when they finish and after we do the facial, and it's just using like 3 or 4 products, their skin is glowing. And this is just them doing it for themselves. I'm just telling them, make sure you wash your face for 60 seconds. I'm just teaching them how to use the products. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my goodness, my skin looks so good. And it's just like, that's amazing. I didn't even have to touch them. And I still made $100 or whatever. So it's amazing.
And you know what? And that's such a good way. Like let them. It's kind of like you know what? It just blows my mind sometimes. There's all these like restaurants out there that are really popular. I don't even know what the heck they're called. But you go there and you cook your own food, right? You know what is it?
It's
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yeah. So you go to a restaurant, they give you the stuff that there's just a hot plate in front of you, and you're cooking your own food. It's like, but it gives you something to do. Otherwise, what you're sitting there. Of course, you can conversate with people, but if you're doing something, so using that same philosophy in your events, I think that's genius.
Yeah. It's a lot. I always say a goal as esthetician. I love doing the facials, but who doesn't want to make money without having to actually do the physical labor? Like I can have multiple people in a room and making $1,000 versus seeing 5 people back to back. So I'd rather have it in 2 hours than have to do it in a full day of work. And then now at the end of the night, I'm hunched over, my back is hurting, my mouth is dry because I've been talking for 10 hours. So it's a fun experience. I like to have fun. Um, this industry is so versatile. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself. I don't wax and I do not want to wax, and I don't care what anybody says it's not what I want to do. I do not know how to do makeup, and that's okay. I know skin and I'm good at it, and I make all my money off of it. When I bring in 6 figures, it's just off of skincare, doing just trying different things with just facials. That's all I care about. I don't care about anything else.
And it's like what you mentioned earlier. Like, you can get a bunch of no's. It only takes one yes, right? And in this industry, it could be anything. Like, for example, as you fine tune the events in this system, that alone can just be your business, right? Like you mentioned, it's very versatile. You can do this, you can do that, you can educate, you can consult. Once you have that knowledge and you're able to fine tune the experience and get it better and get everything dialed in, it's truly limitless.
It is. And that's why I tell people, like, you don't have to just explore, figure out what you like. You don't have to do whatever. When I tell you, I asked maybe 3 people who were already in like cosmetology, skincare. I said, I'm just starting out. What do you think I should focus on? Everybody told me waxing. Every single one of them told me waxing. I said, I hate waxing. Screw this. I don't want to do this. And I was just so surprised because it was like, yeah, because waxing is quick, it's easy, and then on your downtime. And I was just like, no, I don't like it. So it's never gonna be easy for me because I hate it. It's never. When I used to have to wax when I worked at spas, like if I knew the day before I was going to have to wax tomorrow, I wouldn't even want to get out the bed in the morning. I was like,
Think
oh my.
you're thinking of ways to call in sick or whatever.
And I'd be like, is she my first client? Oh my God. So I would get there so upset. They'd be like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I got a wax today. I always power through anything I have to do and get it done. But I'll pout about it and I'll be sad. But as soon as the client walk in, all that energy goes away. But it's just like, just knowing, I'll just be like dragging in the morning, like, oh. And they'll be like, and then they'll laugh. They used to laugh at me because they knew my front desk and my staff, the people I worked with, they knew what I hated. And when they would see it on the books, they'd be like, oh, Angela's gonna be mad at me. And I'll come and I'll be like, who booked this? I'm like, I don't like. They're like, but you're the only one that's gonna do it. I'm like, I don't care. So I always tell people, do what you love. Like you said, be an expert at it, be great at it, and you could command whatever amount you. If somebody want to charge $500 to do eyebrows, trust me, there's people that'll pay it if they're great at what they do. That
100%. So, and one other thing that just popped in my mind. So, like for example, you had those problems where the caterer came in later, the DJ couldn't get the thing set up. How were the people? Were they complaining the whole time? Were they miserable? Were they accommodating? Were they nice about it? Like, what was the response?
Oh, everybody was okay. I think, like I said, it was during the pandemic when the first event happened. I just think people were more understanding of the times. They knew, like I got on the microphone. I was like, we apologize for the technical difficulties, and I explained, like, I'm appreciative for everybody coming, and I talked to them, and then I went around, and I had conversations with people. It was like one annoying guy there who was like, "Oh, oh, you should try this." Like to the DJ, he was annoying me and the DJ because it's like, sit down. We didn't ask for your help. Like he trying to figure it out. But I think everybody was just like, they were like, it's okay, we understand. So I did what I could. Like I went, I think the caterer, he did have like the water, but it was like a store nearby, like right across the street, I think. So I went like send somebody out to like go get stuff, like so people could have at least something to drink or something. And then, just I kind of just like joked about it, and I think that everybody was just understanding. No one actually like if they had an issue, they never complained to me. I mean, I know they like some people be like, oh, when is this gonna happen? I'm like, okay, we coming. I'm so sorry. Da 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 da. But for the most part, nobody like they didn't badmouth me. They didn't leave me negative reviews. I think they understood. I think they understood like I'm a small business, and most people I just would talk to them, and then once they started talking to me and getting to know me, I think that kind of was like, oh, I see what she's trying to do. I respect that, So I think that's what helped me. I think my personality helps me in a lot of situations. It calms people down because
Yeah.
I'm just out here just like you. I'm just somebody said to me recently, I'm in like a lot of groups and they'll be like, oh, share your event. So of course I'll share my event. And then they're like, I see you do events every month. I like that. I said, girl, I'm just out here trying to pay these bills. So whether I want to do it or not, whether my head is in the right space or not, I'm like, I gotta pay these bills. So I gotta do what I need to do. And if they're not booking the facials like they were because the economy is slow or People holding on to their money because they don't know the state of the country. I got to figure out other ways to get it out their pocket because Beyonce is still selling out shows. So people got money. They just being stingy with who they're giving it to.
Right, and that's it. It's having all these weapons on your belt. You can't, as if I had a tool belt and I'm a carpenter, I don't just have a hammer, right? I need this. I can do this. I can pivot to this. You can teach, you can consult, you can show people how to do this. You can show people how to make that, right? Your skill is truly, truly limitless. And anything else? Anything I'm forgetting? Any other last tips, tricks, ideas that you would recommend that's off the top of your head?
The one thing I would recommend is don't be afraid to ask people to help you for free. All they can do is say no. They may be offended. You can't judge if a person's gonna be offended. I would just say present it to them in a like me. I present it to them in the most polite way as possible. I explained to them that I'm struggling too. Like when I did the last Mother's Day event, I asked some people to help me for free, and I explained to them like I'm putting all of the money out of my pocket, and it's a possibility that I could go with no profit.
Mhm.
So I don't feel, like that's wrong to ask somebody if they would be willing to help you. Like I said, I put myself out there so people come to me and my clients, they'll say, I'm a massage therapist. Well, if you did a solid for me, guess what? I'm gonna say yes, go see such and such, right? Because she helped me without even getting compensated. I'm a good person, so I made a profit. I paid people, but I initially asked them upfront, not if they would do it for free. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm putting up all the money. You don't listen. If you don't want to advertise, you don't even have to advertise. I'll take all of the responsibility if you would just be willing to donate your time to me. And some people, they say yes. Barter with people if you can. But I say research, like know the people you're doing business with, know the people you're collaborating with. Because there's some people like I wouldn't ask for favors because I wouldn't do business with them. So I would just some people I wouldn't even have went to. But it's okay to like go to people with your vision and say, "Can you help me?" And in return, I'll help you at some point, right? Like I said, the massage therapist I've referred clients to her, whether they go or not, I don't know, but I referred them. We barter. So there's different things. You can find people on Facebook groups, Instagram. I looked in my local area. I reached out to a lot of people. Some people just didn't respond. Some people responded and said they wasn't available. So just try. It doesn't um, I would just say, like, if you present your genuine self to people, they gonna rock with you or they not. So I always be like, I want to be on the money team. So if you rock with me, and if I get the money, I share the money. Like I don't worry about all that. I share the money. So I always tell people that I'm like, I want you to be on the money team. I wouldn't never ask you to do something I wouldn't do for somebody. I would never.
And in the process, you're building your Rolodex. You're building your money team, right? You're saying, okay, I will rock with this person again because they did such a good job, or this person, well, maybe not again because the timing or this or the quality of the service. But that's the cool part, right? Through the process, you're building a team, and like you mentioned, they're getting to know you better. You're building that trust together, so they're like, hey, you know what? If I'm gonna do an event with Angela, I know I'm gonna have fun. I know it's gonna be this, and in the process, we're just gonna grow and grow, right?
I look at too, I'm like, we all trying to, pay our bills and live a comfortable life. Why can't we do it together? But you also got to know if people are for you because not everybody is for you. Not everybody want to see you win. Not everybody want to see grow. I'm the person that want to see people win. I want to see people grow. I don't have no ulterior motive. I'm just happy to see a small business come out of the dirt and make it because it's I know how hard it is. I know how many nights I cry myself to sleep because I'm like I'm over this. But I wake up every morning, I said, okay, let me try it again. So it's like I get it. So if I can help the next woman or next man who is in that same situation, I'm for that. I don't think that helping somebody else shine bright dims your light. So I just tell people just take the chance on yourself because you're betting on yourself. And I know if I bet on myself, I'm always going to win. So
Yeah.
I don't worry about the other stuff. I don't try to like step on people's toes to get. Some people have different mentalities. If I feel like a person is just trying to take from me, but never giving, then I cut that person off. But I go into everything with a good heart. Like, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. Are you with it or not? If they say no, okay, thank you. I'm not going to hate you. I'll just move on to the next person. Like when people didn't respond to my text or my Instagram message, I didn't get offended. I moved on to the next person. I sent that text out to several people at once to see who want to hit. One person, I reached out to this person because I saw they was connected to somebody else I know. And then I looked at their reviews and their reviews were great. And then I saw that the person I knew was like saying, "Oh, come get a massage." And we text, went back and forth, said we were going to talk. After about 3 times that it didn't work, I just stopped. I was like, okay, let me move on. Because for some reason, this person don't want to get on the phone with me, even though they're
Mhm.
telling me like this is the time I'm available. Then I call at that time, and then they're not available. So I'm just like, that's weird. So whatever, I moved on.
Hey,
Like
you know what? Take the sign. Take the sign, right? Like if they're hard enough to get a hold of now, right? You don't know what's gonna be like later, right? It's not one of those things where you really want to gamble with that. I can't get a hold of this person now. Are they gonna show up at the event, right?
this is weird. Like they're telling me they're gonna be available. I reach out to them at that time. Then I get a text from them like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this happened," and I'm like, "Okay, you knew we were going to speak at this time." So then that's like by the third time, just like, okay, I didn't even follow up anymore. I just moved on and started looking for more people, and I just started I started like going through the internet, looking at like in the area, see and saying, okay, this person has a great internet presence, let me go and ask them and then let me text them and see if they're available to talk or whatever. Let me send them an email. Again, all they could do is say no. And if they do, okay, move on. Like it is what it is. Don't be afraid. I think a lot of people are afraid of rejection. I'm not really afraid of rejection. My thing I always told people is like I'm afraid of boredom.
Yep.
I know myself and I get bored very easily. So when I switched careers to become an esthetician, I wasn't afraid I was gonna fail because I win at everything I do. There's no such thing as failure to me. I was scared that I was gonna wake up one day after like going to school, getting my license, 2 years in and say, I don't want to do this anymore. That's what I was scared of. And I didn't have that. I don't to this day I don't have that feeling. I want to transition. And this is the first time in my career that I was like, okay, I like what I do, but now I want to do something with this, but I want to do it differently. And that's how the events came about because I was like, I feel like I can like write my own checks and do whatever I want. And this is what I like. How can I combine the two passions? And that's when I started doing this different spa events. And I just keep figuring it out. I want to do I asked my cousin, I saw somebody hosting a cocktail event. I said, I don't want to do cocktails, but what we do mocktails. So my cousin was a bartender. I said, hey, you want to come in and do, I said, maybe we could do skincare with some mocktails. I don't
Mhm.
know. We gonna try it out. She said, when? I said, I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out.
You
That's
know
what
what? That's it. Because you don't know what's gonna hit, right? You just try them. You just try this and try that, and then people will let you know if it's hot or not, or if people are gonna buy it or not. But I think all right, the best thing we can do is get the spaghetti, throw it on the wall, and see what sticks.
I reached out, I leveraged my relationships with like local influencers. Reach out to your circle. I think we get caught up in our feelings like, oh, people wouldn't want to help me. Did you ask them? Like even your family. Some people be like, oh, my family don't support me. Did you ask them? Because maybe they don't know how to support you. And
Yeah.
I get that I get that too. Like some of my family members, they don't support me, but a lot of them do because I asked them to support me. When I was in school, I said, "Can you come get a facial?" They came. When I started at the spot, I said, "We're giving out free facials. Would you come so I can practice?" They came. When I'm having my events, I'm like, oh, I tell my family if I'm at a family function, I'm like, oh, I'm having an event, my Mother's Day event, my Father's Day event, my family came. It's not all of my family, But there's a good amount of family members who support me, but they're not coming to get facials from me every month. No. But when I have stuff and I just put it out there to them, they're gonna come or they're not gonna come. I think sometimes we get caught up in the little details of things instead of just saying, hey. And if they say no, I don't care. They're not
Yeah.
my I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I say, okay. I book an event, and if you pay me my money, just know I'm not giving you a refund. So if you don't show up, that's on you. And I don't care if you're family or not. Business is business. And my family knows that. So either they're going to support me or they're not. So I think we got to get out of our own like mind, like how we always put on like what we feel onto other people. And it's
Mhm.
like it's business. It's not personal. Your family just make my family. I don't have any other entrepreneurs in my family. They don't know how to support me. So I have to ask if you can support me on this. They're either going to say yes or no. If I want my family to share something, can you share this post on your Facebook? Yeah, I know they can just share Kim Kardashian posts and they share the Shade Room post. That's fine. I asked.
Yeah.
I just ask. Like, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Some people just may not know how to give you what you want. If you're not a business owner or you're not an entrepreneur, if you don't have that mindset, you just may not know how to support. It may be easier to support a stranger, which it is, but your family, sometimes you don't want to see somebody doing better than you, which is fine. But I get a lot of support from my family because I just think because I asked them to support me, and I don't get upset if they don't. I don't hold it against them. I just move on. I know where my clientele is, and I know it's not my family. I would bring it if I feel like you're not supportive, and I'll be like, you don't come to my stuff, and they'll go, oh. I'll be like, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's
Not personal, nothing personal.
I get it, so I just tell people like never be afraid. Get out of you got to get out of even if you are an introvert, because trust me, I walk into a room and I feel like I'm about to faint, right? But I do it because I'm like, if people don't know you, they won't support you. So I go to I trust me, after every event, I have butterflies. I was like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. But I still talk myself down and I'm like, okay, you got this. And I get up and I give my best version of myself that I can that day. And I do that every time. It's not easy for me to do public speaking, but
Mhm.
I get on the microphone. I'm like, my voice is shivering, but I'm like, all right, you got to do it. Like, you got to let people know. Because I'm like, even with my shirt that say my name on it, people don't know it's me. So they'll go like, and when people come in here, they'll go, "Oh, you're Angela," and I'm like, and I go, "Who you think? Who did it?" But I just feel like I'm like estheticians. I feel like we get caught up in the moment and we get caught up in like our own little world, which I do too. But I feel like you got to put yourself out there. If social media is not your thing, you got to do networking. You got to join some groups. You got to start going to local events. You just got to figure out a way to present yourself to people and build relationships with people. There's so many organizations in like this area, and I'm quite sure everybody has organizations in their area that helps with small businesses, that builds networking. I go to so many different events in the area, and sometimes I just go talk to people and get on my information and take their information. And I even started following up with people from networking events. I had Chat GPT write me a whole little script.
Mhm.
I just copy, paste, email, and say, hey, I'm Angela. Like this is just in case you forgot. We met at the event. This is what I do. I would love to see you. How can let's stay connected, like stuff like that. I follow them on Instagram and I'm active with them because
Yeah.
you that connection.
And that's what it's about. It's about building the connection. So many people I know say they're introverts, but you got to get out there. You got to the more times you get out there, put it out there because people have to know your name. Strangers are going to be paying your bills, right? That's it. Like you mentioned, this you can't just count on family to come and get services from you or people you know that you're comfortable with. Strangers are going to pay your bills. And then it becomes a game. How can I get strangers to become clients to pay my bills? And it's not going to happen by staying at home, not doing events, not going networking, not doing social media, because that's the only way people are going to get to know who you are.
Yeah, I just say put yourself out there. I always tell people I say start where you feel comfortable. Go to a simple a brunch or something in your area, a networking mixer, something that is not intimidating. Bring a friend with you. If you have a friend who is an extrovert, let her lead.
Yeah.
Let that friend get you into those circles you're scared of, right? Like utilize your resources, utilize the people around you. I do events. I used to work at a spa in New York. They do events. Sometimes they ask me to come in. From those events, I meet like people who are like influencers. I talk to them. I tell them what I'm doing. Like, oh, do you ever go to Jersey? They're like, oh yeah, sometimes. So that's how one of the influencers came about because I met that influencer at the event. He said, I live in Jersey. I said, oh, perfect. I want you to come in. And then time went by and life got hectic. And then I finally said, hey, I'm doing this event. Could you come? Would you do content? Help me do content? Yes.
Yeah.
I reached out, and then another influencer, I know her through a group. She started a nonprofit. There, some of them. I One influencer, she got like 60,000 followers. She's big on YouTube. She's very down to earth, very friendly. They're human. Some of them are very human.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody had a different was at a different level, but it's okay because they all make great content. So I just reached out. The one influencer gave me other influencers. I started following them. So I was like, next time I'm following them, I'm interacting with their content. At some point I want to reach out to them too. And being that she is influencer and she has a group and I go to their events, well, guess what? You don't think those other influencers are going to be at those events? And I get to talk to them and network with them and get to know them. And then one day say, hey, you want a facial? I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. Somebody said, nobody wants to work for free. Or nobody. I said, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
If I give out a free facial to get a 30-second video that I know I can't do for myself, I'll do it. Because that stamp of approval is worth more than that hour that I gave away. Um,
Uh, And it only takes one. It only takes one. You can get 99 no's. It only takes one.
yeah, I invite people all the time. I know other influencers. I've invited them to come in. They're like, "Oh, I'm busy. I can't do this." I'm like, "Okay, next time you in town,
Yeah.
if I see they're going to be near me, I'll reach back out. I don't just think because they blew me off last time, they won't do it this time. No, if I be like, oh hey, I see another influencer, she does like comedy and stuff. I was like, oh, I see you going to be in Jersey, and she was going to be near me. I reached out. She said, oh, I don't have time. I said, okay, next time.
Mhm.
And next time I'll reach back out, like, hey, what you got going on? Like we met in person. So I always tell people I always start with the people I know because I feel like that gives me like the energy to keep going to the people I don't know to give me like that boost to be like, okay, they'll do it for me. And if they don't, if they ignore me, they don't see the message or it says seen, I don't take any of that person. I'll be like, oh, okay. I'll wait a couple of months or I'll wait a couple of weeks and then I'll say something else. Like,
Yeah.
you can't take no for, just be like, oh, she said she's not going to do it. Or she looked at my message and she didn't respond. Who cares?
Yeah. See, and you know what? That's really important, right, Angela? That's really important. No isn't really no. It's just no right now. All right. And I learned this a while ago because I think we live in our lives are like these windows. And a lot of time the windows are closed. I'm going through something. I'm dealing with this. I'm just busy. I'm not saying no just to say no, but there's another opportunity where it's like, hey, you know what? Like let's just that comedian one, right? You mentioned, right? She comes back to Jersey and stuff like that. And then, hey, you know what? I do have some time. The
Exactly.
window's open. It's never no. It's just no right now for whatever reason. So it doesn't serve us to take it personal. It doesn't serve us and I literally, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that instead of me saying it. One of the biggest things that annoys the freak out of me is when I hear estheticians say, well, if if she doesn't realize my value, and I'm just like, shut the hell up. Shut up. If they want to book with me, they can reach out to me. They can just go on my website and just book. No follow-up. No, it's the exact opposite of what you mentioned of saying, I'll reach out to them again. I'll follow up with them again. That is professional, as opposed to, oh, if they don't know my value, shut the hell up with your 200 followers and broke business. Too egos too high to kind of pursue people or ask for the business, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I guess over the years, I just learned. I mean, I've felt rejection since like a child. So although I sometimes I'm intimidated, I still just do it because I was like, all they could do is say no, and if that's all that I'm at a no if I don't ask, right?
No.
If I don't ask, I'm already at no. So what is
You
it?
have
What
nothing to lose.
right? So then I'm just like, I'm gonna just go for it, and I'm like. Somebody might say yes. And then that's all I need to hear is one yes. And then I start to feel like, okay, I'm I'm rocking. But yeah, I just tell people to just like always be your genuine self. I don't care how many followers they had. I worked at the spa and they were always sending influencers. I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't know who these people are. I would have to go look up I sometimes I would like not even pay attention to the notes and just think, oh, this is Sarah coming to get a facial. I'm talking to Sarah like she a regular client. Then right before they might tell me like, oh, she's an influencer. And I'll be like, oh, okay. All right. Like I never worry about that stuff because I'm like at the end of the day they're people just like me and you. So it's like I don't want to treat it like so I would just say like do you buy products? This is what I recommend. If you have a deal with Dermalogica and they'll send you free product, ask them to send you this. If not, we sell it here. If you want to, buy it from us, blah, 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 blah. I would never feel like I couldn't do my job because of who the person was in front of me. If it's the vice president of the company, the president, the CEO, I'm still gonna be the esthetician that I am. And I just feel like we just gotta just get outside of ourselves and just go for it. And like I said, I started off part of the reason why I started going for it was like being in your group. And it was just like watching the other women just do the videos and I could tell how nervous they are just listening to their voice cracking as they're doing like their intros. And I was just like, wow, if they could do it, I could do it. Right. And that was part of the courage to like get me in front of the camera to do videos because you were like, people got to know who you are. And I was like, that is so true because when COVID is said and done and we all go back outside, if I don't keep talking to everybody about skincare, they're not going to remember I'm an esthetician because like literally in 4 weeks, if you don't see me, you forget I exist. So I was like, that's what gave me the courage. And it was like, you know what, I got to do it. And then I just been building upon that, like little by little, at my comfort level. Then one day I was like, let me go on TikTok and do these voiceovers because they're fun and they're cool, and I just like them, right? So I started doing that, and then I actually missed doing that stuff. Life just got hectic, but I said that's back on my board for next year.
No.
I don't know. I got on the drama side of TikTok, so I'm trying to get back to the dancing and fun side of TikTok. So like every time I see something on my timeline, it's just a bunch of drama. So I was like, I'm trying to get back to the fun side of TikTok if it still exists next month. But I was like, that's on my list of things to do is to like get back in front of the camera again because obviously when life hits you, you just like so overwhelmed the editing and the record. I could record. I used to record the videos like boom, 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 boom. But then I was like, how am I apply this to skincare? So that's what would take me so long. But you
Yeah.
have to for the trend. So I would just tell people to just believe in yourself. Don't let people who know nothing about what you do tell you that you can't go far. Because when I got into this industry, I think you mentioned that too. I saw like the average assist made like 40 some thousand. I was a chemist. I was already making over that. And I was like, oh, heck no, I'm not going to be the average. I'm going to be at the top 10%. Like I was like, I'm going to be on the other side of the spectrum. So I was like, yeah, that's not what I'm coming to do. And then I just been working towards that goal. I did my vision board. I said next year, I was supposed to do it this year. Didn't happen, but I said I'm writing myself this $250,000 check. And that's where I want. I dated it for December 31st, 2025. So I'm ready to cash it at the end of the year. So we'll see.
You know,
Well,
put it out there, put yourself out there. And you know what, Angela, like I'm super proud of you because I remember in the beginning how you were so video shy. I remember you and I talked about this moons ago, and it was like pulling teeth to try to get you to do that. And now you're doing events, you're doing this, you're doing that. And one of the cool parts is once you develop that skill set, once you know that you can do it and you've done it, you can't take it away. So whether you're taking the break or life happens, you know you now have that skill set, and now it's just getting it's like riding that bicycle again. You just take off where you are, right? And that's the best part.
thing I would tell people is surround yourself with people that has the same mindset. It's all about mindset. Like I told somebody that one time when I hear people stories about like childhood, when they're like, "Oh, teacher said that they were dumb," or this person told me they couldn't do it. And I was like, no one ever told me that. So maybe that's why I don't feel like I could fail at anything, right? And I never think like if I didn't complete something or I didn't pass a class that I failed. I don't believe in that because I was like, I didn't fail because I got the knowledge. I just, maybe I stopped going to class so the teacher failed me, right? But I have the knowledge and the understanding, and you can never take that away from me. Whatever I've learned, I taught myself a lot during the pandemic. I was like, I built my own website. I learned Canva. I learned so much stuff. It was like I'm still utilizing that knowledge. And then I started to get with, like I said, the group, and they help other women entrepreneurs, and I go to their trainings and their classes and their events, so that's also helping me too because I go to their events and I realize like they are a nonprofit and they're a team, and it's a group of women, about five of them, and they do it together, and they have like monthly meetings or whatever, and they set out everything for the year, for the next few months. And so I was like, that's amazing. That's what I think I need as well. I need a village,
Yeah.
like going to these events. But then even when I'm at these events, there's other women who I'm 4 years in. There's other women who haven't started. So, I get to share my knowledge with them. Like, you got this. Like, I was you 4 years ago trying to figure it out. I'm still figuring it out. I haven't mastered it. So I was like, but I'm further along than you are. So if you need somebody, because I didn't really have anybody, but here are resources, here are things you can do. I'm always in a webinar, I'm always in a training. Scan through Facebook from time to time. I'm seeing what's going on. So I'm always involved with something. Even when my life was in shambles, I was still on Facebook trying to connect with people. I learned to tell my story more so
Yeah.
people can, because that's what's missing. I noticed that what was missing because I wasn't telling my story. And I noticed that I get more feedback and more likes and more shares when I tell my story. And people want to hear your story. I thought they didn't until I put up my first post about who I was and how I came to be an esthetician. And so many women were like, I'm in the same boat. And I was like, do it. I quit. I don't care. I was like, I quit. I didn't want to be a chemist no more. I didn't love it. And I said, I just got to follow my heart. And I did. And it was the best decision I made. So now that's why I was like, now I don't feel like, I feel like that was the worst part of my life career wise. And it's nothing, I can't feel like I can't get any worse than that.
Yeah.
So I just tell everybody in this industry, just like, it's so many aspects. Like you should never be bored. You should never not have money. I just think you got to connect yourself with the right people. I don't care what the other estheticians are doing. That's not my issue. I'm surrounded by a lot of estheticians in this area. I'm in the New York City tri-state area. I don't care what they're doing because
And I believe and that's a perfect place to finish this is, only you can tell your story. And there are a lot of people, like you mentioned, we're all at different levels. There's somebody above us and there's somebody below us. And it's that constant journey of bettering ourselves, better ourselves, become better humans, helping others, learn from others. And but the better you get at your story, because those posts, and I think, and I'm really glad you pointed that out, are the ones that people really care about, because people will find pieces of themselves in your story. But you have to share your story. You have to share your journey, because now people have more of their heart invested in you, because they feel they can connect with you and they know you, right?
Yes, true. But thank you. I know we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's been freaking awesome. Thank you so much for, again. So everybody here, when I was first talking to Angela, she would never do videos. She wouldn't do this. She wouldn't do that. Total introvert, fought tooth and nail, all that stuff. And but look at her now, doing events, hosting this, educating, being in the mix, going to networking events. If Angela can do it, then you can do it. Events, I love how Angela has done events. I love how you found teams and people to find them. I love how you found them, not taking no personal, because it's not everybody's cup of tea. And more importantly, just keep striving through it, running through it, finding and doing things you love, and understanding that you can have fun and make money.
That's my goal in life. I want to live long, and having fun helps you live long.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
so anybody, you guys can reach out to me. Trust me, I'm not that type of person. I'm not, if I can help you, I could. I can't hold your hand, but if I can give you the resources to help you, most of my information, my price lists are usually public. I'm not a gatekeeper, because I went through that as a chemist, and it was draining. Like, just give me the answers, and it's just like, no, go find it yourself. And it's like, why you want to make somebody work so hard? One day I'm going to charge people to like help build them up. But if I can give you a resource to figuring something out, tell you how I did it, I'm okay with that. Because I feel like we all have to, each one teach one. So anybody want to reach out to me, just slide in my DMs. Again, I'm not gonna give you the whole blueprint, but I will give you things how I did things.
And Angela is cooler than Kool-Aid. So I will, Angela, I'll tag you onto the post. People, if you have questions, and Angela is super cool like that. So again, hopefully watch this, take some notes. If you want to do events, look at some of the steps Angela took, some things that worked out good. Understand that if the stuff hits the wall, a lot of people are really understanding. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of doing that. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Don't be afraid of charging your worth. Avoid the pitfalls. Understand that there are costs to parking, of your travel, of this, of that. Understand you don't have to take the whole makeup suitcase with you. You start learning the process of, I only need this, I only need that. And sometimes experience can teach that. You can either learn it yourself, or you can listen to Angela and see some of the things she did, and then kind of go from there. So learn it. Angela, stick with me for a second. Watch this, comment, post. Talk to you soon. Peace.